I finally did it, gamers. I went to my first ever fighting game local, and it was a ton of fun. I did get my ass beat, but it was a ton of fun. Now, quick caveat here, I have technically been to a local before. I even got second place at it and won myself a smooth $77 in Tekken. But this was at an anime convention, not like a fighting game event, so it's hard for me to really compare it the same way as like an actual fighting game local. However, at this first actual fighting game local where everyone competing was a fighting game player, I learned a ton and I had a ton of fun. So I kind of want to talk about the story of how the night went, the things, the matches, the competitors, the atmosphere, and maybe it'll encourage you to go to your own fighting game local, even if you're not that good at fighting games, because I didn't do very well and I still had a ton of fun. So first off, I entered 3 games. This was actually mistake number 1, but we'll get to that later. I entered Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising, Guilty Gear Strive, and Tekken 8. We're gonna start with Granblue because it's the tournament that was held first, or technically Granblue and Tekken were at the same time, but I got knocked out of Granblue first, so we're gonna talk about that. So Granblue is a game that I'm fairly new at, and I've been having a lot of fun playing it. It's a very cool game. I love the aesthetic, and the mechanics are pretty cool. There's a lot going on to it. I even did a fighting game tour on it not too long ago if you want to check out that video and see what the game's kind of about. However, one problem I've had is I haven't really clicked with Granblue super well. Even up to the tournament, I hadn't even decided on a main yet. I was just kind of winging it. I picked Lucilius because I got him to S rank previously, like weeks ago, and I was like, he's kind of my favorite so far, so I'll play him. But that was definitely a big issue for me, was I didn't super click with Granblue, and so there was just a huge knowledge gap between me and the other competitors. The matches did go close. I went 1 and 2 in each of the matches, but I just wasn't able to close it out. I was getting hit by frame traps. I wasn't sure how to use my toolkit super correctly. Overall, it was just a little bit tough, and while I do love Granblue, I think I learned that I don't really want to kind of do it competitively, at least not at the current moment. Maybe as I keep playing casually, and if I finally find a main that clicks with me and start to understand the game mechanics better, I'll actually dig in. But I've been playing for a little under 70 hours now, and I just haven't quite got there yet, so for now, I'm gonna put it on the back burner competitively and probably not enter any more Granblue tournaments. Next up is Strive. Strive, as some of you may know, is the first fighting game I ever really got into. It's what I learned fighting games on, and it is a ton of fun. I have a blast. I've been playing it, I don't want to say tryharding it, as I've never really competed in anything before, but I've been tryharding like the ranked tower and stuff, which has its problems. I talk about it in my video where I finally reached Celestial, if you want to check that out. However, since I reached Celestial and put that video out, I hadn't actually played Strive, at least not played my main Kai, since then. And that was a huge issue. There was just a huge gap of knowledge that I had to try to remember, muscle memory, control schemes, everything. I tried to get it all to come back to me before the tournament in my lunch hour between my day job today, and it just wasn't enough. I was kind of disappointed at myself. It was a little embarrassing to go 0-2 in Strive, because I do think I'm a better player than that, but I totally understand why. I didn't put in the effort, I didn't put in the time, and I think 0-2 is absolutely the record I deserve. But what it made me realize is I want to do better. It kind of ignited that competitive drive in me. I'm like, if I just put a little more time into it, if I put it more than a lunch hour's worth of training before the next tournament, I think I could do a lot better and have a lot of fun, because I don't consider myself super good at Strive, but I do think I'm proficient, and I can definitely put up a showing better than 0-2. So next time a tournament comes around, I'm going to put a little more effort into Strive and my main, Kai Kaisk, instead of trying to learn new characters, and I think I'm going to have an absolute blast. So I'm coming back for you, Strive bracket. You'll see me in winner's side, maybe even in top 3. That's a long shot, but that's the goal I'm setting for myself. Now last up is Tekken. Tekken's the big one for me. It's the one I won second place in at that smaller local at the anime convention. I love Tekken. It's probably my favorite fighting game. However, there was one issue coming into this tournament that was pretty similar to what it was with Strive, which was I had not actually played Tekken. This tournament was back in March, I want to say? And I think I'd maybe put 15 hours into the game since then. So my knowledge was pretty bad. Luckily, Tekken I enjoyed enough and really dove into enough back earlier in the year when it launched that the muscle memory came back to me pretty quickly. But I was doing things like dropping combos and not knowing when to punish certain things, like just these huge knowledge check things that, oh, I was really beating myself up for, because realistically, if I just kept up with playing the game, if I kept up my grinding, if I kept up my training, I would have been able to do much better. I made it to winners quarterfinals. I won my first 2 matches. It was a ton of fun. I felt like I was kicking ass. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm doing great. And then I ran up against someone I consider my rival. The same person who beat me in grand finals and made sure I didn't get first place. I had to fight them in winners quarters finals, and they beat me. They beat me bad. This match was actually streamed, so I'm going to show a couple clips of it if they have the VOD up. If not, I'm going to show random Tekken clips. But hopefully I can get some clips of the stream game. I got absolutely trounced. I am not at a level to compete with him yet. However, I think I could have been if I kept up my Tekken training. Without a doubt, I think I could have put up a better performance. And then moving into the losers side bracket, I was up against a Claudio, who in my hundreds hours of Tekken 8, I think I fought maybe 4 or 5 Claudios. I just didn't know the matchup, and I didn't do very well. I wasn't taking my turn. I was very hesitant, which was a huge bummer, and I think I could have done a lot better if I was just a little more confident, if I played a little more Tekken. However, something that this did do is make me realize I absolutely love playing these games competitively. From here on out, Tekken is going to be my main game. I'm going to lab it, I'm going to train it as much as I can. Free time is a little limited with my stream schedule, but whenever I get the opportunity, I'm hopping into Tekken and I'm going to be getting better. That's my goal. I want to be really good at Tekken. And there's actually another tournament coming up in a week, the monthly version, which is going to be a lot bigger, have a lot more tough competitors, and I'm excited for it. So starting now, I'm starting a week-long training camp where I play Tekken, and I try to get better at Tekken, and I try to remember all the matchups, all the punish opportunities. The biggest thing with me that was hard to get back into playing Tekken was punishing lows that I actually block. Most of the time I'd block the low and I go, yes, I blocked the low. And then I would forget that I actually have like a great punish opportunity with a while standing 2, or even a while standing 1 into 1+2. I play Nina. And that was just a huge issue that's not something that comes naturally to me in Tekken, at least not after coming back after a few months. But in any case, all this did was really get my drive going. It made me really want to do more things competitively, especially Tekken. So from now on, when we play fighting games, I'm gonna try to stick a little Tekken in there for at least an hour or 2 every time we play on Sundays on my Twitch stream. I still want to be a huge fighting game variety streamer, but something I realized is I can't realistically play all of these games competitively, and I'm perfectly fine with playing a lot of them casually now, just focusing on Tekken, and to a lesser extent, Guilty Gear Strive. Playing 3 games was a huge detriment to me personally in this tournament, especially because Tekken and Granblue ran at the same time, which means I would do like 2 Tekken matches, and then a Granblue match, and then a Tekken match, and then a Granblue match, and I would get my controls mixed up, and I would drop combos in one game or the other, and trying to do that at the same time, juggle that was really tough, and then Strive was literally right after. So I played probably 7 matches in a row, with a small 10-minute break where I was able to drink a PBR from the bar. However, it was a little tough to juggle all of these control schemes and stuff. However, I think I can lock in if I play the games just a little bit more. All in all, it was very hubristic of me. Hubristic? I had a lot of hubris entering this tournament thinking, oh, I've done well in the past, and I know how to play these games. This knowledge will all come back to me. It didn't. You have to keep these up, and it made me very, very appreciative and very, I'm not sure exactly what the word is. It made me realize how dedicated these fighting game players are, especially ones that do multiple games, to keep their knowledge up, to keep their training up, to keep learning all the time. It was really, really impressive. And while I'm not at Evo level or anything like that, nowhere near it, I do want to be able to compete at an even higher tier, especially in Tekken at my local scene, and maybe, who knows, in a couple years or so, maybe I'll be good enough to go to one of those big tournaments and place high. But I'm not going to worry about that just yet. For now, I'm going to have a ton of fun entering my locals, and if you're a fighting game player who's kind of on the fence about it, I think you should enter your locals too if there's any around. They're a ton of fun. Everyone there was incredibly friendly. I have no complaints at all. The tournament organizers were great, everything ran smoothly, and granted this is a kind of larger arcade, it's the Akihabara arcade, if you've heard of that before. It occasionally does, like, it's a stop for larger things like Third Strike tours, and so they had a little bit of structure for how they knew to run these events as they've been doing it for a while, but it was super smooth and I have no complaints at all. If maybe you think you're not quite ready to enter a local of your own, I do hold kind of new entrant and beginner friendly fighting game tournaments online in my Monarch of the Steel Rose series. We've done 7 of them so far previously, and our next one is coming up at the end of September with Street Fighter 6. If you're maybe a little bit afraid to go in person to a tournament or want to get a little tournament experience, then I highly recommend entering those. You can see when I post about them on my Twitter or my Discord. I generally post in the weeks leading up to it. But in particular, this one will be the weekend after Terry releases in Street Fighter 6. So in any case, I just kind of wanted to decompress because I had a great time playing in this local tournament, and I'm absolutely going to do it again. I don't think I'll be able to make every single local they do, but whenever I get the opportunity, I'm gonna hit it up. I'm gonna throw down, plug in my leverless, and we're gonna see what happens. And I'm gonna train for it this time, so I'm not trying to make up all the knowledge on my lunch breaks anymore. So in any case, I appreciate you watching this. It was mostly me rambling about going to my first local, but I wanted to gush about it because I had so much fun, and I do recommend going to a local if there's one near you. In the meantime, I'll catch you later.